Good evening. Time for our Rise of the False Gods book study. Okay, there's no Tishy. She was here a couple of minutes ago, like it's time, and it wasn't time. So maybe she'll be out to join us, or maybe not. If this is your first time and with our Rise of the False Gods book study, it's a study on a book that tells you how we keep messing up, why we can't get past it, and how we can. So, it's a book of metaphysics. Metaphysics are the principle, the foundations, the principle that everything in our lives is built on. Okay. Again, I welcome questions and answers, comments. I don't always see them showing up in the feed, so I may not answer it till later. But and we may be a little short tonight, early tonight, because the chapter's short. Depends. If we're real early, I'll keep going. If we're not real early, then we will all be out early to have a pleasant evening, which I hope your evening's pleasant anyway. And it is Friday, so we're looking at the weekend. I'm sorry, I keep fussing with my hair because it's pathetic. It's gotten to that point. This is about right where it was when I cut it after our March um, shut in time, but I am not going to get it cut for another month. So get used to it. All right. So we are going to tonight be on page 197. We are getting up there. My gosh, look, the stuff we've got yet to do is very skinny compared to the things we've got done. And a lot of that is appendix and glossary and exercises. So we are rounding the bend, my friends. We're rounding the bend. Then we'll have a whole new adventure to be off about. Yeah. But for now, let's look at tonight's topic: revenge of the false gods. Now, the word we think about, if we think about the word revenge, it's like coming back, it's like fighting back. And in Unity, we have a saying that whenever we make a decision to change something in our life, to improve our life, all that is unlike it comes up for healing. It comes up for healing. So if our decision to do something new in life has to do with the use of our time, and you've seen this happen to me all week. I've had all kinds of interruptions and phone calls in the middle of the videos and heaven knows what else. And Tish, who is not with us this evening. So anyway, uh, see, I interrupted myself. Now I got off track. But it comes up to be healed because it's saying, how are you doing? How are you doing? Are you sticking to this thing about your time? And we get mad because if we fall back, I've been falling a little bit back lately because my schedule is off. My sleep and work, action schedule's been a little bit off. I've been on long phone calls trying to clean up little bits of business that have been lingering. Now it's tax time, but it's okay. It's okay because tomorrow is another day. Every day when we get up, it starts all over again and we get a fresh, clean start. Imagine we erase the board at night and in the morning we start fresh. Charles Fillmore, co founder of Unity, had a very special way to do that. When he went to bed at night, the end of his prayer time, he dedicated to um, asking forgiveness for anything he did that was not in alignment with his highest good or his best behavior or being his best self. And he asked forgiveness of others for anything he did to offend, and he forgave others. So he didn't take into the night and then carry into the next day any resentment, any anger, any any negative energy. He just let it go at night. So, so when we feel like we're being frustrated by one of the issues in our life, is it controlling our temper? Is it taking care of our health? Whatever it is, when we're being challenged, remember that it came up for healing. It doesn't mean what you are meaning to do is not the right thing to do. It means that the issues that have prevented you from doing it before are coming up for healing. Things like resistance or fear or laziness. So we have to work against those false gods. Now, the false gods, which are what? States of consciousness. They are not beings. They are ways of thinking that are erroneous. They are putting importance in the wrong place. Both in my afternoon and evening videos, we've been talking a lot about what matters most. And I would like to I'd like to go over a few little comparisons about what false gods, false beliefs we can fall into believing. Okay. So if you could, just try to bear with me uh, as we go through it. So remember, under the influence of false gods, what we believe is important, or what the false gods cause us to feel important, is physical beauty. And what is not so important is character and a beautiful soul. It's like we're so busy looking at what can make us. And every time I look at every time I look at myself here, especially at night when I get the hair going on, and I think about the times I watch different people on TV, Bernie with his hair all over, and you go, "How did you do something about that hair? Oh, why don't I do something about my hair?" Whenever you point your finger, three more fingers are pointing back at you. But um, people that are so into physical beauty have very little consciousness of the importance of character and a beautiful soul. We put more energy into that, we would probably be healthier and happier than focusing on how we look. Under the influence of false gods, we believe that a big bank account is important. Now, I'm not talking about the need to have a reasonable cushion or nest egg or whatever you want to call it. That's a good thing. We all, and a lot of people will, fall out of their chair when they get it, that and this is what our fathers and mothers taught us. You should have six, and financial advisors, you should have 6 months of complete living expenses in the bank. That way, if you lose your job, if there's a pandemic and you can't go anywhere, all those things, that you will be covered. They also teach that what's not important is wise use of all resources. And the fact that we want our resources to be renewable, whether it's our money, or our environment, that we don't waste, that we don't. I have a little mind trick that I use when the event happens that I have to throw away food. I try very hard not to throw away food. I tend to be a very prudent. I don't like to say frugal because frugal sounds cheap, but I'm a very financially prudent person. And every time I used to throw food away because I didn't eat it fast enough, I would feel horrible. What a waste. But I call it, now don't laugh at me, I call it a vermin feast. And I figure when this food makes it to the dumpster or the dump, there are going to be some critters that are going to think, oh my God, a shriveled up apple. Woohoo, I love apples. So it's a good way for me to know that I'm really just taking part in the circulation and that it's going back in, even things that wind up being composted. They are going back in to create better soil. Whether I think I talked about it the other night, finding all the um, metals, heavy metals, and toxins in baby food. Well, it's in our food too, and it leached in through the soil, uh, through bad treatment of the soil, through pesticides, and it's time, my friends, to clean up our act. A lot of people are anti-vaxxers because they're so afraid that if your child gets a vaccination, they're going to get autism. Well, I think that the quality of our soil and our foods possibly leads more to autism, and nobody knows. Well, unless a scientist knows, and I'm out of the loop. So, for those of you who are more educated about, causes of autism, I put it in the comments, and I'll be sure to share it today or tomorrow. Okay, so we want to have wise use. What is important to a false gods? False gods tell us that a big fancy house and cars are important. And I don't think I put it here anywhere, but I'm going to add it. Labels. Did we talk about that the other night? Do you wear clothes that have labels? The designer labels. Hey, if it looks nice, it looks nice. I don't care who made it. If it looks nice and it's going to last, right? Okay. But what they don't see important so much is a home filled with love and connections between family members, reliable, eco-friendly car, both big enough to meet our needs without being excessive. So the problem is excess here. And when we are spending so much time earning a living, we actually exchange it for our life, you know, your money or your life. The consciousness of false gods says it is important that individuals have unlimited access to all kinds of guns. Sorry, gun fans. And I am not, and I hate it when people who love their guns always say, you want to take away our guns. You want to take away our guns. No, we don't. We want responsible gun ownership. Uh, and again, no need for the excess. And weapons of war belong in war. They don't belong on our streets. And that's the way I see it. And I really have to ask the person that feels the need to have a weapon of war in their home, what's up with that? It only seeks to further divide us. My friends, we have to learn to love and trust each other. You know what a handshake is all about. We can't even shake hands anymore right now. But the purpose of a handshake and the reason it was the right hand is most people are right-handed. So you would take the hand of whoever you were meeting. Oh, look, I could almost shake my own hand. You would shake their hand. And as you're shaking their hand, you're making sure they haven't got a weapon up their sleeve. How do you like that? Yes, look it up. Okay. So what they don't see is unimportant. What false gods don't see as important is that the United States has one of the highest instances of violence and death from firearms in the world by far. So a lot of those countries that have so much violence in them, and that a lot of Americans like to point at that and go, oh, that's awful. I hate to tell you, but we're right up there with them in gun violence. All right. False gods, the consciousness of false gods, when we're under the influence, uh, we think that what is important is how much richer the rich get. I don't know if you like the movie, if you saw the movie and like it, Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Love that movie. And her husband would go to bed at night and put on Lives of the Rich and Famous because that's what was important to him. He was clearly in the grasp of false gods. They see as unimportant, the consciousness of false gods see as unimportant how depleted the planet and the poor are getting. We are not replenishing. We're not replenishing our planet. We're not purifying it. We're not planting the trees and the forests and the things that provide us with oxygen, even. Under the influence of false gods, we see or talk about how much junk food the president eats. And we see as unimportant how many people go hungry in our own country. When we see people that are on the street with a sign that says we'll work for food, we don't realize that, okay, well, if I give them money, I'm afraid they're going to spend it on alcohol or drugs. Well, then give them food. And better than giving them food, sit down next to them and share a sandwich. Have your own sandwich, have them have their sandwich. Ask them how their day is. Ask them, you know, just try to just let them know that they have value. People have value. Even people who live on the streets have value. Okay. A careful look at the duos that I just presented will show that the pull, the draw of false gods draws us to self, I, me, my, mine, rather than the truth of our being, which is we, us, ours. Because we are all one, we will thrive as we look to the good of the whole rather than the individual. This is a good thing. We will be happier because that's the way spirit works. Now, false gods don't just let go of the grasp. When we say, I am done with all this materialism, I'm going to get rid of all my excess baggage, I'm going to live a light and happy life. False gods don't let go so easy. Embedded beliefs that we have had for a long time cannot be just yanked out. Oh, people have had them yanked out, like unfortunately the times when people who probably didn't have that much to begin with, or they live in a stronger house, during tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever, they lose it all. But what they realize is if you've got your health and your family, you got a lot going for you. That's a good place to start. Um, we have to reach out and grasp on to our higher self as we pull ourselves out of temptation. A great device for overcoming our own resistance to old habits and weakness is denial and affirmation. For example, we do not deny the lure of exceeding the speed limit, right? Oh God, it is, especially if you got someone poking in front of you. You have those times when somebody pulls out in front of you and goes, you know, 5 miles an hour slower than the speed limit. And you're like, hey, what are you doing here? You had to get in front of me. Now what? Instead of relaxing and saying, okay, I left early enough. I'm going to get there on time. But when we fall for the lure that's saying, I'm too important for this, but we have to deny within ourselves that temptation to speed has no power over us. Give it back. Push it away. I'll get there in divine order. And that's the way it works. And we remind ourselves by affirming, I am a safe and conscientious driver. I've told you the story repeatedly, so I'm not going to put you through it again, about looking at the pastries in the, case at the bakery and reminding myself, oh no, those are salt patties. Those are not. Or I think about trying to zip up my pants so I don't give the pastries the power over me. It does not take much. I mean, think of all the things that happen biologically, the glands, your saliva glands, you see something looking good. You show me creamy chocolate frosting and I'm gone. We've got, and I haven't been there since shut in, which next month will make a year. And maybe it's the first place I'm going to head when I've had my shot in a couple of weeks to boot. Um, there's a place in Colchester, Connecticut called Angelo's Bakery. Oh my stars. And they've got this cake and it's got big chunks of cherries in it and big nuts and little bits of spices and other stuff. I don't know what it is. And it's got a pink, like I think it's probably cream cheese pink frosting with little cherries. Oh, they're maraschinos. They're no good for you, I'm sure. Oh, but they are just so compelling. So when we get out after I've had my shots and my time and everything, I'm getting me a piece of that cake. And while I'm there, I might pick up a piece of their pizza, which is quite excellent. But I'm not going to make it a daily or even weekly habit. Once a month, maybe. We could do that. Um, but we have to have the power. We have the power. We have to claim the power. You know, I know they say the what? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. If the flesh is so weak, why does it win so much? And it's not all our fault. What did I say the other day? We're animals. We're not vegetables or minerals, so that leaves animals. And like a lot of animals, we have animal instincts. And when we see something, we have won it. And we have to overcome that. Remember, you are a spiritual being living in a material world. You are in the world, but you are not of the world. When we are of the world or lower consciousness, we do whatever floats our boat without even giving a thought to the consequences of our actions. Okay. Whatever the weakness we may face, we are greater. Even if we find ourselves inundated with visions of sugar plums, that which is within us is greater than the object of our craving. Think of all the endorphins or adrenaline that kick into gear when we want something. That is all physical. But we are a powerful spiritual being that is capable of taking control and having self discipline. Self discipline is going to give you the rewards, you know. So that's what you want. I want you to think about the word uh, courage. Okay, you want to have courage. Self discipline takes some courage. Now, there's words that flank courage. One is discourage, which means a lack or draining away of courage, and encourage, which is a strengthening or inspiring influence of courage. So we want to encourage ourselves. We can give ourselves back our courage through encouraging affirmations, people, places, things. It is said that God hates a void. So whenever we release something, we have to put something back, okay? So like if we release um, uh, sweets, we have to have something that we really like that will replace it. So you think about the things you really like in healthy amounts and make it easy. Don't make it hard. Like you say, well, I really do like carrots and hummus, and that's real healthy for you, and it's certainly better than having a tabletop pie in the afternoon. So, uh, but if you have to go and peel the carrots and cut them up and dip them in the hummus or make the hummus, heaven forbid, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. So that these are the things. If we take something out, we got to put something back. It's about making better choices. It's not about saying no. We keep thinking changing for the positive means saying no. It just means making better choices. Okay. This leaves no space for the removed habit to settle back in. Decide in advance if we give up sugary treats or soda, what will we replace it with? If we don't, we're going to feel deprived or depleted or that something is missing. We'll feel punished for not doing anything wrong. And when we do that, we breathe life into those temptations. So we don't want to, when we want to change in life, we don't want to uh, get into a space of punishment, lack, limitation, or suffering. All we have to do is make a plan as to how we're going to have a healthier lifestyle and then to do that. Even, how they used to say, if you get angry, count to 10. And I think people are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm going to give it to you. No. Uh, when you count to 10, you do give yourself an opportunity to cool off if you calm down and fill your mind with counting and breathing. What happens when you inhale deeply? You are not thinking. So, and if you want to put an affirmation tag onto your breath and attach it to the word peace, peace, love, peace, love. See? And that's how you can get control over those false gods, and they won't get revenge. They won't come back at you with a vengeance. Okay, well, I hope that you were finding that a little bit helpful. It is actually exactly time to go on to our weekend. And when we get back together on Monday, we're going to be on page 199, and it's all about foundations and framework. Okay. All right. Well, chew on our tonight's spiritual feast, and I will see you on Monday. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Bye bye.